We just spent 8 days in Vienna and countless weeks planning the trip. We're now sharing everything we learned, including how long to stay, how to get around, can you drink a beer in public, where to stay, the language, cash or
Credit card.
can you drink the water, when to visit, really. What more could you ask for? Oh wait, that's because we have so much more. I'm not saying we know everything after 8 days. We don't even know German, but we know enough to make travel easy. This is the Vienna City Guide.
I'm living my best life. I'm living my best life.
Alright, that's enough music. Let's dive into the details. The essentials. Let's start with the exciting topic of
Visas.
if you're a US citizen, you don't need to do anything until 2025 when you will need a visa.
Visa.
And then if you're from Europe, all you need to know is this is a Schengen country. Gripping stuff. The currency, of course, is the European Euro. Cash or credit card. You can get by pretty much on a credit card. From restaurants to shops, using the public transportation, they all take credit cards. There's only a small amount of places that we needed cash, including the local holiday markets and some street vendors. Public toilets. There's a handful of public toilets in the downtown Ring Road area. You'll have to have some spare change or a tap-to-pay credit card to use them.
Toilets.
Public drinking is completely legal and actually encouraged. Well, not encouraged, but you can drink almost anywhere except a small place by the Praterstern train stop and on all public transportation. Thank you for this public announcement.
Exciting.
Are you supposed to tip? There's only 2 situations where tipping comes in. Taxi rides where it's common to round up, and nicer restaurants where it's common to tip 5 to 10%. Austria uses the standard F-plug, which is common in Europe and features the 2 circular prongs. Is it safe to drink the water? It is very safe to drink the water. Just don't drink that river water. When should you go? Obviously whenever you want. But in November and December you have the Christmas markets, and then July, August you have amazing weather. The only problem is, obviously people know about this, so it's going to be crowded. Price-wise, Vienna is very inexpensive compared to a lot of other European cities. In fact, it was named the most livable city in the world multiple years in a row. Did I make up that fact? No. And of course, how long does it take to see the city? This one's a tough one because obviously 8 days and we've barely scratched the surface. If you want just a good feel for the city, you could probably get by with 3 days, but you're going to miss out on a ton of museums, a lot of food, and your feet will definitely be sore. And that, folks, is the essentials. Getting in and around. If you're flying into Vienna, you have multiple choices for transportation to get downtown, but only one good one, and that is taking the S7 train. When you're waiting for your bags, walking through customs, and making your way down to the train station, you'll see tons of advertisements for the CAT train that takes you directly from the airport to downtown Vienna. You'll want to avoid this one because it is so much more expensive than just taking the S7 train. In fact, it only takes 2 minutes longer and currently costs only €4.40 to ride, with trains leaving about every 30 minutes. Now, once you're downtown, Vienna has some of the best public transportation we have ever seen, with above and below ground rail, as well as buses. Some of the subway stops had trains coming almost every 3 minutes. It was insane. We'd recommend downloading the public transportation app to take public transit, and just purchase a card every time you hop on a train or bus. The public transportation also works on an honor system where you don't need to scan or present your ticket to anyone unless there is someone at the gate. The city also has a great network of bike lanes that can get you from point A to point B using
Pedaling power.
and plenty of city bike rentals throughout the downtown area. Of course, the city does offer horse-drawn carriages, which is a perfect way to say, hey, I'm a tourist. And finally, we have the OG of transportation.
Walking.
This is usually our preferred mode of seeing a city, and Vienna was no exception.
Language.
Viennese people primarily speak German, but English feels almost like a second language while we were there. We learned a handful of words beforehand, which usually goes a long way, but 100% didn't need to this time unless you really wanted to show off. Where to stay? Finding a place inside or near Ring Road would be ideal for seeing as much as possible. Hotels in the area can be pricey, so finding a hotel outside of Ring Road but close to a train line would get you in and out of the city center pretty easily.
Must-sees.
This would be our required list for anyone looking to visit the city, especially if you only have one day to do it. St. Stephen's Cathedral, one of the most iconic buildings in all of Austria. The tiles on the roof of St. Stephen's are so colorful, it's like a giant game of architectural Tetris. And then make sure to hop inside and check out the amazing restoration that has been going on since World War II, when it was basically destroyed. Next up, we have Stephansplatz
Square.
This is basically the middle of downtown with swarms of tourists, overpriced food, souvenirs, but that iconic architecture you can't get anywhere else. And next up, Graben's Walking Street, which is right next to Stephansplatz. This is one of the two most iconic shopping and walking streets in Vienna. The Vienna Opera House. You should try to grab tickets well in advance, whether it's for a show or to tour the building. The Hofburg Palace. Just a few streets away, you'll find the massive Hofburg Palace complex with multiple museums, beautiful statues, and tons of old architecture. Last on the list is Schomburg Palace. Similar to Versailles near Paris, you'll need to hop on a quick 30-minute intercity train to visit the massive former summer home of the royal family. This includes a huge park, gardens, cityscape views, a zoo, a VR experience. Oh my! Oh look, an attraction. This massive list of over 20 things to do while you're in Vienna is in no way a complete list and will not be possible if you're only spending 3 to 4 days in town. If you're going towards the end of the year, make sure you do not miss out on the Christmas markets. It'll be hard to miss since the entire city is basically wrapped in Christmas lights, and we found over 10 different markets to visit. Inside the Habsburg complex, you'll find the Spanish Riding School as well as the Sisi Museum, which is about the former queen. Viennese giant Ferris wheel, which is the oldest running Ferris wheel in the world. Kartnerstraße, which is a walking street filled with shops. The museum campus features tons of different museums, perfect to stop by one on a rainy day. The Austrian National Library has thousands of historic books, but as you can tell, you can't bring in newer cameras. Albertina is
Another museum.
The First Steel Passage is a small arcade that features a bunch of small shops and is very picturesque. Hundertwasserhaus, which is a crazy looking house that has trees coming out of it. The Nash Market, which is a long street filled with local vendors selling anything from food to souvenirs. The Brunner Market, which is extremely local and off the beaten path. Strad Park. This is a pretty big park, has a bunch of sculptures, walking paths, makes it feel like you're not even in downtown Vienna. Walking Ring Road. It's a beautiful path that loops around the entire downtown area, surrounded by trees on both sides. The Anchor Clock. Make sure to get there around noon to see the entire parade. The St. Charles Church features 2 giant columns and is right outside of Ring Road. Prater Park, which was first mentioned in the 12th century. St. Peter's Catholic Church, which features a
Giant vaulted dome.
Belvedere Palace, which had its own Christmas market when we went. The Votiv Kirchki Church is actually a newer church made in sandstone but looks extremely old. Rathausplatz and the park right in front of it. And especially if you go in the summer, make sure to walk on the Riverwalk. The Num Num Foods. Vienna has a lot of tasty treats to sink your teeth into. The Kaiserkinzer is a sausage or bratwurst filled with cheese that you can easily get from the hundreds of street food vendors throughout the city. Of course, we have Wiener Schnitzel and Goulash, video not provided. These two are also a must-have while in Vienna. For desserts, we have the apple strudel.
Video not provided.
And people often say get the Sacha Torte from one of the legendary bakeries in downtown Vienna. We tried it, and it's for sure not worth the wait in line for one of these Viennese chocolate cakes, unless you're looking for that Instagram moment. You can easily get one of these cakes from a corner store bakery with no line at all.
Not provided.
If If you like the city this much, why not leave on a day trip? We looked into 6 different places to go on a day trip and ended up choosing the Wachau Valley. In our train ride north, this region is known for picturesque river valley views, endless wine vineyards, monasteries, and abbeys. The other places that were on our short list of day trip options included Salzburg, which is 2.5-hour train ride due east and around 60 euros. Bratislava in Slovakia, which was only an hour away and included multiple trains running per day. Sopron is another 70-minute train ride away that's a medieval gem with a large amount of historical landmarks and buildings. Győr in Hungary is a 70-minute train ride away that apparently has amazing food and picturesque riverside views. And finally, Grützing, which is a small wine village close to Vienna and requires multiple buses to reach, but it has an amazing hilltop view over Vienna. This was the Vienna City
Guide.
If you found this useful, please like and subscribe so we know to make more guides like this in the future.